Okay, shalom, shalom, kwam yasha'Allah, koholoyim la, Yahweh, H.I.M, Yahweh Shai, H.I.M, Rachahakwadash. Double honors to our apostles and elders of Great Millstone who do well, and that by the Spirit taught us to speak the truth. Just want to say the water for the H.I.M and Aqua. That's out here sincerely keeping the laws, the statutes, and commandments of Yahweh H.I.M Shai to the best of their ability. This is Yachanan Nawah. Just coming at you with another quick lesson. I'm praying that it's edifying by the Spirit. Got a couple things here lined up, which I've, kind of asked ChatGPT. A lot of the apostles and elders and brothers been using it as a tool to further this ministry. Not that we need it, but, it's quick information, straight to the point. A lot of the times it can be biased, so you have to word your questioning in a certain way. But I've seen this article, so let me just go back to this article real quick. So this is the article right here. Made me ask some questions, right? So it says a company backed by Trump's White House shared a video for kids saying slavery is better than being killed, and people are furious. So when you look at the original picture, this is how I kind of clicked into it right here. You see it, the little so-called black girl or whatever, and it's saying being taken as a slave is better than being killed. They kind of got it in a cartoon form, right? So I clicked into it. And this PragerU, this is one of those small hats. He's got one of those, supposedly, I guess I call it a cemetery, along with the apostles, but one of those seminary, university online hookups. And he's a radio host as well, real racist ass small hat. But it says PragerU, a conservative media organization promoting itself as an educational network, is getting called out online for the historically inaccurate and misleading messages delivering to children. Because they, matter of fact, let me just get a quick script. They understand that they must have control of the children, and that's the reason why they want your children for 8 hours a day, so they can indoctrinate them with a bunch of bullshit. But you have to, we're in captivity. We're in slavery. But once your children get to the crib, which our people don't do, they don't question like, okay, what did you learn today? Let me see your paperwork. Or, at least not in the hood, so to speak. But, what did your teacher say about this? How was history class? How was your math class? And this, that, and the third. No, our people just load the kids up into the damn car and drop them off, or they, let their asses walk to school, or let them get on a big ass yellow bus and just go there, and they don't give a fuck about what's being told to them once they get there. But this is Proverbs 22:6. It says, train up a child in the way he should go, and when he is old, he will not depart from it. So Esau understands that. He understands, let's get the children. We're going to raise them up from preschool, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. They got your kids until they turn 18. And then, of course, if any of them are fortunate to go to college, they're going to learn a bunch of more bullshit. But they understand, let's get the children young, because we can get them young. We can teach them that, okay, even though we're the oppressor, that you love your oppressor, so to speak. Okay, so it says, after Trump presented a bill that could cut more than $1 billion in funding for CPB, Corporations for Public Broadcasting, announced it would have to shut down, which could force organizations that rely heavily on its funds like PBS and NPR to do massive budget cuts. So all these, I remember all these particular news networks and stuff like that. It was just like public, they did get a lot of donations from, people and stuff like that, but it was mostly funded by the government, and they getting rid of all this stuff because, everybody that says anything negative against Trump, he's just been cutting. He's been cutting their asses up, cutting them up, man, cutting their funding. And he's really doing a number on these Democratic states. But it says PragerU described itself as a nonprofit looking to spread American values through the creative use of digital media, technology, and edutainment. They offer content for adults as well as learning videos and resources for kids. They state their free content, which includes short videos on topics like politics, history, economics, social issues, helps people of all ages think and live better. But it appears they've earned quite a bit of criticism for a plethora of reasons. Despite its name, PragerU is proudly not an accredited academic institution. Critics have viewed them as an alt-right company distributing their information through a biased and revisionist lens. And that's what these small hats do. Critics have said the platform is used to promote their political agenda. Well, that's what these small hats they be doing with their lobbyists and all that shit. Their controversial views. Let me just jump to the point here. Let me see. It says, in fact, one of PragerU's history videos is currently going viral for its revisionist way to explain slavery to children. And this is what Esau overall is doing. Because first off, they don't want you to know that you're the actual Israelites. And they don't want you to know that they're the actual Edomites. These people are not the real children of Israel. They're Edomites. No? It says the video in question comes from a 2022 episode of PragerU's series of Leo and Layla history adventures. The siblings discuss having a weird day because students and teachers at their schools didn't know if they should acknowledge Christopher Columbus Day as a holiday or call it Indigenous People Day. Leo said people online have split views. Some people refer to Christopher as a really mean guy who spread slavery, disease, and violence to people who would have been better off if he'd never gone to the New World, while others believe he was a really courageous guy who loved exploring, inspired generations, and spread Christianity and Western civilization to people who really benefited from new ways of thinking and doing things. Which, you know, that's Esau, man. They gave you white Jesus, idolatrous white Jesus, and you niggas 500 years later still believe in that crap. Okay, so this is the cartoon. But anyway, what it led to was a comment. This person left this comment. Let me see if I can find it. May not be able to. Which they left a comment that led me to. Let me just go into ChatGPT real quick. Slovakia. This Bill O'Reilly clip. He had a debate with Jon Stewart or something like that. So the comment that he left, the guy left, was how this Florida curriculum. Let me see here. It says on Florida and slavery curriculum, because this is a part of the comment that they mentioned as far as this particular leader down there. It says it's true that in 2023, Florida's education standards sparked major controversy because they included a line suggesting that enslaved people developed skills that could later be used for personal benefit. Critics, including historians and civil rights leaders, argue that this framing downplays the brutality of slavery and treats it as if it were some kind of job training program, which is profoundly misleading. And that's how Esau get down, man. You know, he throws the rock and hide his hand behind his back. And me and the brother was talking about this earlier, about how he's the accuser of the brethren, man. Enslaved people didn't choose those roles. They were forced into breaking the back-breaking labor, tortured, deprived of family, language, and dignity. And so the second part of it was Bill O'Reilly versus Jon Stewart. Yes, Bill O'Reilly once said enslaved people were well-fed, well-housed in a way that implied it wasn't that bad. Jon Stewart came on his show and pushed back on the entire idea. With Jon Stewart, I think he might be a Jake. A white privilege denial, making O'Reilly stumble in front of his own audience. History cannot be sugarcoated. Enslaved Africans endured centuries of terror, rape, forced family separations, beatings, and cultural erasure. And see, this is the reason why too they not liking this AI. They just like they never liked the internet to begin with, because the internet it's been one of their challenges of trying to. They can't get around the fact that they're the wicked, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, they really want that history gone. Okay, so it says, to present slavery as anything less than an atrocity is a form of historical revisionism. And that's exactly what Esau is doing. As you said, you cannot rewrite it. Number 4 on the list, it says, America's struggle with race. The U.S. was built on slavery and later Jim Crow laws, redlining, and mass incarceration. So let me get another scripture, because, again, Esau is starting to tell on himself. And that internet is a huge part in that. And it's really the Lord. It's really the Lord that's bringing it out on this guy. Psalm 64:8, so they shall make their own tongue to fall upon themselves. All that see them shall flee away. And they don't want no parts of that shit now. Now, they used to be proud of it. But now, with with Trump back in office, the battery is back in a lot of these Edomites, back, and they talking shit again, So, but it's a super duper stain on the so-called Democrats, the ones that just like that, yeah, that was wrong, and some of the ones that may have so-called marched with Martin Luther King, and they're not completely super duper just redneck mega racist. They feeling like but they don't want no parts of it. But even though they are a nation together, they can't separate themselves from those Republicans like that. They can't separate them, because the Lord, he judges nations, man. He sets up nations and he breaks those nations down, and it don't make no difference whether you was good or not, so to speak, within that nation. Because even with the Israelites, when you think about Daniel and all the prophets that went into slavery with the rest of Israel, they wasn't wicked. They was out there prophesying, telling these niggas to get it together before the Lord destroyed their asses. But they went into captivity right along with these niggas as a nation. So Esau is going to pay as a nation. So it's not going to make no difference of whether or not you out here marching and you a white woman, you slept with a black man, your kids are so-called mixed and all that shit like that. No, it's you going into slavery. It just is what it is. Matter of fact, let me get that Revelation. What the brother say, it's nothing personal. It's the scriptures, man. We gotta say what the Lord said, man. We believe what the Lord said. Revelation, let me start at verse 9 here. It says, if any man have an ear, let him hear. He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here's the patience and the faith of the saints. This is what we're patiently and faithfully waiting on. So when we go on the highways and byways and we teach the Bible, which they've been using the Bible for what, fucking a damn millennium, telling you about you should be grateful to them for giving you white Jesus. But when we come out and preach the actual truth of the scriptures, you know what I'm saying? This motherfucker, he's out here like we're haters, and we're racist and all this other shit. Like, motherfucker, you've been doing the shit you've been doing to us for like the past fucking 600 years, damn near. Anyway, so this shit gotta happen. Matter of fact, let me get another one too. And we're living in beautiful times, man. And Esau, see, he knows that he had but a short time, so they're gonna speed up the brutality of Jake. It's a lot of accusing going on right now. Isaiah 14:21, prepare slaughter for his children for the iniquity of their fathers. See, what the Lord is saying, to prepare slaughter for you new generation, for the iniquity of what your fathers done, that they do not rise nor possess the land nor fill the face of the world with cities. And we don't know how that's going to happen, you know what I'm saying? Because right now, we just going out on the highways and byways and teaching the scriptures, man. But like the beloved brother Allah was talking about, us being fishers and turning into hunters, man. And when the Lord does that, it's going to be on him. And it's not going to be no turning back. When he turns us on, ain't going to be nobody to fucking turn us off, man. We don't know how it's going to happen exactly. But, hey, when it turn on is turned on, you're not going to be able to, flick the light switch and click us off. All that talk, nah, you ain't going to be able to with your smooth words. None of that shit is going to work in that time, man. Anyway, let's go back. Let's see what else they got. So, number 4 on the list again, America's struggle with race. The U.S. was built on slavery and later Jim Crow laws, redlining, and mass incarceration. That history creates structural inequalities that persist even today. Some white people avoid reckoning with this because it's painful, but refusing to face it only allows the injustice to keep echoing. Reckoning versus blame. You're right. No one alive is personally guilty for what their ancestors did. Well, we just pointed out that they're going to be, in the scriptures, that they're going to pay for it, though. It says, but as a society, we inherit the systems those ancestors created. Reckoning doesn't mean hating yourself. It means acknowledging history, honestly, fixing its legacy, and refusing to repeat them. Now, well, the Lord got this all mapped out, man. So you Edomites are going to pay dearly, man, for what you've done to the children of Israel. All that, you can try and deny it. You can try and push it away, but it's only increasing. And we're seeing it on a day-to-day basis. That fight between Jacob and Esau is damn near in old school round 15. Back in the days, they used to have 15 rounds in boxing. The real brawl out and drag out is going on, man. And Esau, you your ass gonna eventually get knocked out. Okay, it says, what you said, this country will always be racist until some white people reckon with the fact that their ancestors were brutal, uncompassionate, terroristic thugs, and raw, but accurate in spirit. Racism doesn't end by denial, it ends by truth-telling and repair. Well, the Lord is a racist. Let's get Deuteronomy 7 and 6. The Lord is a racist because he only chose Israel. Deuteronomy 7 and 6, for thou art an holy people unto the Lord thy God. The Lord thy God hath chosen thee to be a special people unto himself above all people that are upon the face of the earth. So the Lord placed the children of Israel upon all the other nations, man. And that's racism. Matter of fact, let's get chapter 14, verse 2. Deuteronomy 14 and 2, it says, for thou art an holy people unto the Lord thy God. And the Lord hath chosen thee to be a peculiar people unto himself above all the nations that are upon the earth. So the Lord chose a nation of people, and it's you so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. And when you see the Lord in all caps like that, L-O-R-D, that means Yahweh. That's the true name of the Father. And that's the name that we need to start back calling on. You know, fuck some damn Jesus or some Jehovah. When no letter J when the Lord walked the earth. The letter J was invented in 1524. This white guy, they calling Jesus as a goddamn idol. And a lot of our people are going to be destroyed because they're going to be clinging onto a damn cross on their neck, you know, on their fucking knees, you know, praying when the destruction comes to a goddamn Edomite, man. A made-up idol, man. So the true name of the Father is Yahweh, and the true name of his Son is Yahweh Shai. Yahweh meaning he exists, or the existing one. Yahweh Shai meaning he's the Savior or deliverer in the Paleo Hebrew. Get rid of that white Jesus shit, man. Throw all that shit out of your house. Because those are idols, man. The Lord is not dealing with that shit. He's going to destroy your ass if you worshiping white Jesus. Ain't no white man coming to save your ass out of all this shit they put you through. They beat that into you. That was a part of your slavery. That was a part of your so-called upbringing to make your ass docile. And here you go 500 years later. You know what I'm saying? You got a nigga woman running up and down aisles and shit. You know what I'm saying? To that dumbass music with the pastor not saying a goddamn thing about nothing except for the catfish fry after church. You ain't learning nothing, man. Because you've been taught in idol worship, man. Let me get this one real quick in Sirach chapter. What is it? Salakia. Six, and let's start at like 54. Second Ezra 6 and 54 says, and after these Adam also, whom thou madest Lord of all thy creatures, of him come we all, and the people also whom thou hast chosen. That right there is going into racism. The Lord chose a people out of all the nations. All this have I spoken before thee, O Yahweh, because thou madest the world for our sakes. As for the other people, there's a separation there, see? As for the other people, which also come of Adam, thou hast said that they are nothing, but be like unto spittle, and hast likened the abundance of them unto a drop that falleth from a vessel. And now, O Lord, behold, these heathen, which are these so-called whites, you know, so-called Chinese, Japanese, Cambodian, whoever the fuck, you know what I'm saying, they're all enemies of the Lord. That goes into Psalms chapter 83. It says, and now, O Lord, behold, these heathen, which have ever been reputed as nothing, so they've always been nothing to the Lord, have begun to be lords over us and devour us. But we, thy people, whom thou hast called thy firstborn, thou only begotten, and thy fervent lover, are given it into their hands. So the Lord gave us into the hands of these people, but they're going to pay for what they've done. If the world not be made for our sakes, why do we not possess an inheritance with the world? How long shall this endure? So Esdras wanted to know, how long is this going to be going on, Lord? Why are these people ruling over us? Why don't we have, you know, our own thing going on? You know, everybody is taxing us to death. They're working the shit out of us. You know what I'm saying? Everybody is in our neighborhoods benefiting off of us. You know, why are we going through what we're going through? Right? So we're about at the end of that. And what's happening is Esau, the accuser of the brethren, the finger is starting to be pointed back at his ass. It says, would you like me to pull together some quotes from enslaved people themselves, like Frederick Douglass or Harriet? Or no, we don't need none of that. Because Frederick Douglass, as far as I've seen, was, he's one of those people that they use as far as Black History Month, but actually he would be an Edomite today because, slave master impregnated his mama. He's actually a damn descendant of a white man. As far as I've seen, as far as the history, not sure, you know what I'm saying, we're going back that far, but from articles and stuff like that, supposedly his mother, the slave, was raped, so to speak, by this Edomite, and he came out with that chocolate look, you know what I'm saying, with that kinky ass hair, but still he's a fucking Edomite. So this is not a color thing, But I, just seeing this article, and this is Esau, man. Like this guy, let me get this guy. Let me see. He's a damn small hat because I used to listen to his show. He's very racist. One of them small hats, PragerU. Let me see. Oh, damn. All right, let me see something here. Kind of give you an image of this guy. Yep, right here. Small hat. Always talking some Israeli bullshit. Look at this weirdo. He's trying to teach your kids that slavery was cool. Like you learn some skills. You learn how to build. No, Jake already knew how to do all that shit. Every slavery that Jake went into, they always took the best of our men and women. They wasn't just taking somebody that didn't have no damn skills. They was taking people that played music, people that knew about government, people that knew about, when you go into the book of Daniel and you read about Daniel, and they were young, but they took the best of our people and left the poorest of our people behind. What kind of king is going to be like, let's get all those niggers that don't know nothing? No, they want the best of the kingly house, man. They're taking the princes, man. And we are Yasha Allah, man, princes of the power. They wasn't just taking no random nigga that's drinking some goddamn wine bibber, motherfucker just on, just he's drunk all the goddamn time. No, they were taking the smartest of our people, man. So we knew how to build. We knew how to make music. We knew how to the best of spices and healing processes and things of that nature. We knew about the earth. We knew how to pull medicines from the herbs and things of that nature. We was top notch in that. So it wasn't like, Jake just all of a sudden came here and here is a privilege that you learn how to build a house. Motherfucker, we knew how to build a house. What the fuck is you talking about? Anyway, I just wanted to just touch on this, man, real quick. And you Edomites gonna pay, man. It just is what it is. You're gonna get what's coming to you. And so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native American people, stop letting your kids just sit with a fucking tablet in their hand listening to these crackers, man. Right? So with that, I pray that the lesson was edifying. Call me inshallah and a Baba Ball.